Hello and welcome to this video on cost behavior. Cost behavior refers to how a business's costs change as you change your activity levels in the business. So if you sell more products, how do your costs change as your production increases? It's important for a manager to understand the cost behavior of their business because it allows them to improve their planning of their future financial performance. And understanding cost behavior is going to be a fundamental skill that allows us to make a lot of business decisions. It's going to be useful for break-even analysis, outsourcing decisions, whether to drop a product. All of these decisions will come back to understanding the costs of your business and how they behave as your activity levels change. Costs may be classified as fixed costs. A fixed cost is a cost that does not fluctuate as your business activity levels change. That is, if you sell more products, the cost will not increase, it will stay the same. It is a fixed cost. An example of a fixed cost for a restaurant would be the salary of a chef. If I'm going to pay the chef of my restaurant $1,000 a week, I'm going to pay them $1,000 a week regardless of if I have one customer or 1,000 customers come into my restaurant. The cost is fixed at $1,000 regardless of the volume of production that I have. Another fixed cost that a restaurant might face is the rent of the premises. I might pay $2,000 a month renting the premises, and regardless of how many meals I cook and how many customers come into my restaurant, I'm going to be paying that same $2,000 fixed cost each month. Fixed costs can be graphed as below. In this figure, we graph the total fixed cost of a business. We see that the total cost of the business is flat. It's fixed even as our activity levels increase. So using the restaurant example, my cost of the chef's salary stays the same regardless of how many customers come into the restaurant. However, we can express fixed costs on a per unit basis, and then we see that the fixed cost per unit can decrease as our activity level or our production level increases. So for that restaurant, if my chef gets paid $1,000 a week, if I have if I have 0 customers, the cost is 1,000, so it'd be 1,000 per unit. And then as my number of customers increases, the cost per customer of that $1,000 fixed cost decreases over time. So fixed costs in total stay constant, like in this graph. But if we want to express a fixed cost on a per unit basis, fixed costs get spread and decrease as the number of units we produce increases. Another way that we can classify costs is as variable costs. A business's total variable costs will increase as your production or activity levels in the business change. With our restaurant example, for every additional meal that we produce, our cost of ingredients is going to increase. So if I make 1 meal in my restaurant, I may have to pay $5 for the ingredients. If I make 100 meals, I will pay $500 in ingredients. So as my production levels increase, my total variable costs increase. When we graph the cost behavior of variable costs, it looks like this. Our total variable costs increase as a linear function sloping. The total cost of the business increases as the activity level increases. So if I make 0 meals, I pay $0 in ingredients. But as the number of meals I create increases, the total cost increases as well. However, when we express the variable costs on a per unit basis, we see that the cost per unit stays the same. So if I have to spend $5 on ingredients for every meal, no matter how many meals I make, I'm spending $5 per meal on the ingredients. So now we've looked at fixed costs and we've looked at variable costs and we've seen how to graph the cost behavior for each of these types of costs. They behave in different ways and that'll allow us to make better decisions about our business. However, there's some assumptions with cost behavior. One of the key assumptions is we're operating within a relevant range. So our cost behavior that we just classified as fixed or variable will only occur within some sort of relevant range. For example, rent is a fixed cost. If I'm a manufacturing company and I'm renting a manufacturing facility, my costs for rent will be fixed for a given range. If I need to increase my production levels, I may need to rent a new premises, in which case my rent would increase. So my rental cost is fixed for a given range of production. Then if I need to produce more and more and I might need to rent another premises, my fixed costs can change as we exit that relevant range. The relevant range for variable costs can also lead to variable costs changing their behavior. You may have heard of the term economies of scale. As you produce more, the cost per unit can decrease. So this can happen for our variable costs as well. As a supermarket is buying inventory, if they're purchasing more and more inventory and their activity level is going up, they may get discounts on their purchases, so the actual variable cost per unit may decrease and the behavior may change as you exit the relevant range. So by the end of this video, I hope you understand fixed costs and variable costs and understand that it's important to understand each expense your business has and what makes it go up or down. Is it a variable cost or is it a fixed cost that's going to stay the same? We're going to use this information in more detail to make a lot of business decisions coming up. Thank you.